This is the Criterion Creeps podcast, and tonight we're taking another delve into that Laserdisc collection from many years ago, even longer ago than our usual Spine Creeps, which were also released, 15 years ago now.
Which ones?
We're living in the past, man. Well, the Criterions that we're watching, an old Spine 293 that came out in probably 2005 now. And here we are talking about Laserdisc Spine 35.
Well, I mean, they're all old. They had to have been old, or else if they were new, we couldn't watch them yet. You know what I mean?
Unless it was The Irishman.
Well, no, but that's still old now. That's 2 years old already.
Old films. Well, this movie this week is Mel Brooks The Producers from 1967.
What? Mel Brooks.
That's right. The man who brought us Robin Hood, Men in Tights, Dracula. Dead in Lovetson. I wish John Lovitz was in that movie.
He could have been Renfield for another Anima.
No.
Actually, the guy they had for Renfield was pretty good in that movie. That's a good movie. I wish that was what we watched this week.
The guy from Ally McBeal.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that guy. He's cool. He's fun.
I see. I understand. Yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to talk about Mel Brooks now. You know about Mel Brooks?
I know about Carl Reiner. Are they the same?
Carl Reiner?
Yeah.
What do you like? Mel Brooks is a figure in pop culture. Exists. Sure. People know about Mel Brooks movies. People talk about Blazing Saddles all day long.
Oh yes.
There's a generation that it is the funniest movie ever made.
I think some people would say Monty Python Holy Grail is potentially, or Life of Brian might be the funniest movie ever made. So it's probably a debate between the Mel Brooks and the Monty Pythons.
But we all know that Dumb and Dumber is the greatest comedy ever made.
Yes. And if you disagree, you're listening to the wrong podcast.
That's right, RJ. So, Mel Brooks is a guy. He produced The Fly, the David Cronenberg Fly, and he produced The Elephant Man. That's always a fun fact. I like to say, hey, Mel Brooks, he kind of has some taste. He's done some good stuff. Outside of his comedy stuff, which might not be everyone's cup of tea, other than it's kind of I don't know what you're told by AFI. It's like, this is the funniest movie ever made, top 10. You better fucking laugh or I'll break your arm. I'll break your fucking arm. Are you laughing yet? Yeah. Yeah, here it is. Sorry. In fact, it is number 11. And the AFI's 100 years, 100 laughs.
Wow. Number 11?
I think every time we talk about comedies, I bring up this list. Because number 1, RJ, Some Like It Hot by old Billy Wilder. Or Tootsie, number 2. In fact, Blazing Saddles is number 6. So The Producers isn't even the best comedy that Mel Brooks has ever done. Where do you think Young Frankenstein is on this list?
4?
Rob Reiner's got a movie on here, unlike Carl Reiner.
Stand By Me?
When Harry Met Sally.
Oh. Stand By Me is not a comedy?
Wow.
Or is it?
No, I'm busy. You keep.
What do you mean you're busy? You're doing an audio podcast.
I know, but I'm trying to see if... there's Carl Reiner. He's got The Jerk.
Oh, yeah. Where's that on the list?
The Jerk is where it belongs at 89.
I don't know, man. I think The Jerk needs to get bumped up a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, I totally missed that Young Frankenstein is number 13. You know what's right in between The Producers and Young Frankenstein? Former Criterion Laserdisc dip, A Night at the Opera.
And do you agree with that ranking?
No.
Oh. God. You wouldn't have that number 4 on your list?
Man, that AFI. It's
What does AFI stand for? All Farts
Institute.
Institute, yeah.
That's comedy.
How come we don't write for the movies?
All right. Enough clowning around.
Oh, okay. Sure.
The tagline for this film, RJ. Hollywood never faced a zanier 0 hour.
What? What does that mean?
Well, I guess Zero is the name of the actor who's the main character of The Producers. Zero Mostel. You know that guy?
I mean, I Now that you say it, it was a cool. I thought it was a cool name. I was like, I don't know if I've ever heard of a guy named Zero before. That's cool.
Well, his name was Samuel Joel Mostel.
So what? He just came up with Zero?
Yeah, maybe. It's pretty cool.
I take it back then.
Be a great name.
I prefer Hector Zeroni from Holes. You ever seen Holes, Jarrett?
I have not. But I have seen The Producers, and the synopsis goes a little like this. Broadway producer Max Bielstock and his accountant Leo Bloom plan to make money by charming little old ladies to invest in a production many times over what it will actually cost, and then put on a surefire flop so nobody will ask for their money back. And what can be a more certain flop than a tasteless musical celebrating Hitler?
Man, it's one of those things that I bet a writer's room, potentially in the 90s, with a couple guys named Brannon, maybe a guy named Brian, they probably thought it was just incredible, this idea.
They're going to get
just
him.
Incredible.
But it was 1967. And RJ, were you aware that this was Mel Brooks' feature film debut?
I wasn't, but I knew you would tell me if something like that were important.
That's what I do.
That's how this works.
So I'd seen The Producers. This is like the third time I think I've watched it, maybe fourth time. This was brought up. It's on the Roger Ebert Great Movies list. I think Cult Movies might even have it on there. It's considered I don't know. It was a critical failure, but apparently a box office sleeper, which I guess is a good thing.
Like it's got legs, doesn't have a big boom, but it goes for a while.
Audiences lapped it up and yucked it up.
Huh. So is it ironic?
No, I guess people liked it, which is curious. So anyway, have you seen The Producers before?
I have not.
The original version, described as a satirical black comedy.
Is it a skewering satire or is it just a regular satire?
We'll find out. We'll find out.
Okay.
So, how does this movie open up, RJ?
With disjunctive credits.
It's not very disjunctive. It's kind of overlays of blocks of text. We watched this man with a very poor comb over. Kind of having his way playing kind of a gigolo with very elderly old women who he is romancing one by one. He has various picture frames that he keeps in a cabinet for each woman that he has up to his office, and he makes them feel good about themselves because at the end of the day he's only interested in their investing in his film productions, which is basically how he's living off of the avails of. That's about the gist of it. So it's some hijinks, some zany musical score over abrupt. I think you described it disjunctive credits, but very abrupt, very very comedy.
Yes, it's a lot of freeze framing, like and then it'll hold it for about a minute or two.
Yeah. So anyway, we get through that whole sequence, and he moves through one old lady, moves on to the next, and she's crazy. She's a horny old lady, right? That's kind of that.
Aren't they all?
That's and that's like, isn't that funny? Horny old ladies. They're not supposed to be horny, but they are. They like it. They like this. Aging, fraudulent, corruptible, and greedy Broadway producer, as Wikipedia tells me, describes him.
Well, he's treating them right, I think, right, Jared?
He is. He knows how to press their buttons.
He knows what they like. What is it? The stable boy routine? Is it drive-in Miss Daisy routine? Yeah. There's all sorts of different routines they have.
Yeah, he's getting tossed around, mounted violently.
Yep.
All clothes on. So you can bring the kids. Check out this show. And who shows up, RJ? It's everyone's favorite Gene Wilder, who you might recognize from GIFs online of Willy Wonka. You know that guy? You know Gene Wilder?
I only recognize him from memes about people who are just like, oh, and it's that kind of sassy picture of Gene Wilder.
With him leaning into his gloved hand saying, "Oh, please tell me more." It's so internet.
Yeah, and it's almost always a really bad take. Almost always.
Ooh, it's like people who use the word take.
It's almost a bad take. It's based, Jarrett.
Mm-hmm.
That's what based means, right?
Do you think like there's nothing more tedious than people who talk about like that really crazy scene in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory and like how it's really dark and
I mean that
disturbing.
whole movie is dark.
Yeah.
The whole movie is dark. I think people really neglect that. It's not just the one scene. Yeah. I think, at least. I don't know.
Yeah.
But...
So, Gene Wilder, an American institution. Everyone loves See No Evil, Hear No Evil. His collaborations with Richard Pryor.
Brewster's Millions?
Silver Streak.
Wait, is that Richard Pryor?
No, that's... Yeah, but it's not. No, it's not Gino. It's that Silver Streak, Stir Crazy, See No Evil, Hear No Evil, and Another You.
I've seen, I think, a couple of those. I can't remember which ones.
Yeah,
but a couple of them.
Do you like that? Do you like that Gene Wilder? We'll get there. We'll get there because you're going to get a whole lot of him in this. He shows up. He's the accountant. He's doing the books. He is a very nervous man.
How so?
In the classical sense, because he shows up and he tries to get through every situation, even though he just desperately wants to run away at all times. And he'll stand there smiling because Gene Wilder no-sells it, underplays it, and goes, "Oh dear, oh boy, yes, I need a drink." Like, he plays anxiety perfectly, I guess.
Okay, interesting.
To Zero's slimy, conniving, plotting manner, but he's also very smooth. And I mean, to be successful, I guess, in being unsuccessful, you have to convince people enough to give you money. In this situation, he's gotten money once more from one of these little old ladies. The landlord sees it, swoops in, snatches it away. It's like, how can you do this to a man? He's just trying to put food on the table. So, but of course, it's like he tells everybody this because he's a bad hombre.
He's got evil schemes. Jared,
he's got schemes. So anyway, we have hapless Leo Bloom, who kind of comes upon this, discussing discrepancies. I don't know how or where this accountant comes into play. It's unnecessary though. There needs to be no like reason. You don't need like, oh, someone got brought in to do such and such and such. She's like, no, the accountant just shows up and he's going to do things. He wasn't hired by anyone particular.
Are you saying that the accountant doesn't need motivation? Like they had always wanted to be a Broadway producer? Are you saying that that's not a motivation that needs to be here?
Mel Brooks was wise enough to realize those things don't matter. Things don't need to be explained. Things don't maybe necessarily need to be tightened up for modern audiences to grasp. Okay, we'll get there, RJ.
Oh, okay, sure. Sorry, I didn't mean to give away your lead there, my friend.
So anyway, he just shows up because it's like, oh yeah, accountants. He's like, hey, there's $2,000 here that isn't accounted for. You shouldn't be doing that. And then he makes this like observation out loud that, if you really, it would be very curious if someone intentionally wanted to make a bad production, they could make a lot of money. and then of course Max is like, tell me more. This is a fantastical idea. So we have kind of the odd couple that emerges. It's a kind of a buddy film, buddy comedy.
It gets there.
It's there. They're not buddies from the get go, but they're forced into a situation where Leo is dragged along through the machinations of Max Bialystock.
Okay.
Yeah. So what's the plan? RJ? These two. So first of all, Max has to convince Leo. Yeah. It's like, hey, maybe you don't need to be so honest. Maybe we can work on this together. Because like I think Leo's going to stay on being an accountant, but he's like working on the account. Because you can do two things at once. Who cares? We don't need John Lovett's musical numbers.
I mean, that might be the only thing we needed in this
I mean,
one.
and I'm saying this is a Lovitz man.
I agree. I agree. That might have been the only thing we needed.
Yeah.
But they wax over it pretty fast where it's like, "Hey, I'm here to check the books." And it goes, "Okay." That's it. And
Yeah.
then I mean later on it's like, "Hey, maybe I should get back to work." He says, "No, you're checking my stuff. You just stay." And he goes, "Oh, okay." And that's about it. There's a little bit more, but that's more or less it.
We get some comedy with about having a panic attack, being splashed with water, and it's like that doesn't solve anything because now you're just wet and having a panic attack, and then you get slapped, and now your face hurts, you're wet, and you're having a panic attack.
Sure.
Comedy.
How did that play for you, Jarrett?
It's fine.
Or would you prefer not to say until later on?
Well, I mean, I can just say that, like, I think The Producers is okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's all right as a movie. I've never been in love with it. This is not the funniest movie ever made. There are lists where this shows up in that way.
I'm sure.
What did Roger Ebert have to say about this movie, for instance?
King of the incels coming in.
What? He was happily married.
Allegedly. No guy who reviews movies for a living is not.
Ebert claimed this is one of the funniest movies ever made.
I'm sure he did. He's an old man, so I'm sure he loved it. Or he was an old man.
But
you know what I mean?
Whether or not one considers this an all-time banger in the laughs department,
yes.
I guess it's more curious to think about this in terms of like how vulgar this movie seemed to audiences of its time, and you compare it to where vulgarity would go over the next 50 years in comedy.
Sure.
It's kind of like, Producers is so charming. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think I know what you mean. I was just curious about the wet anxiety slap scene because I'm similar, I think, to where you are with this, and I won't say much more, but that particular comedy bit was one that did not land for me, Jared. I was not impressed with. I'm wet. I'm anxious. My face hurts. I want this to be over.
But it's Gene Wilder's cracking, screechy voice. I'm wet.
The
you like that?
Screaming? No, I did not like the screaming.
You have you don't like loud sounds. I've noticed.
I don't. I find it obnoxious, and I just don't like when people are screaming on screen for extended periods of time. I find it.
What about when that same man starts calling a man fat, fatty, fat, fat, fat? And
that's a little better.
Remember when he's afraid he's going to get stomped on by the fat man?
That all equally.
That's all part and parcel of the same thing.
Yeah. I do not like loud, screeching, continuous noises, which that scene was an extended version of that. So, just throwing that out there while we're on it. That's just my own. That's my bag, baby. I just don't like loud noises. That's all. So whatever.
So eventually Max convinces Leo to join forces. Let's do this. Let's get rich together. So they proceed to. They have a scene where they're reading through a bunch of plays for days on end. Way at the line that I've read this before. We've read so many that I've started reading the same ones over again. And it's like, no, this is what the whole process is. You have to find the right thing. And we'll never find the right thing. And then Max Bialystock starts laughing. Oh, I found it. And what did he find, RJ? A play called Springtime for Hitler. A gay romp with Adolf and Eva at Berchtesgaden.
At what garden?
Berchtesgaden? Gaden?
Oh, okay.
Berchtesgaden. Okay. Sure. German.
Yeah, he's a pigeon man. Or something.
Well,
he lives on a roof.
So first they, of course, find this love letter to Hitler, written by one Franz Liebken. So they go and pay. They have to now they've found their play. Now they have to acquire the rights to do the stage production of it because it's going to flop. Because the whole idea is that you make a play, set it up to fail, and then you don't have to report any of the money that you're fleecing from the marks, which comes later. So, of course, they go hang out with the Pigeon Man, played by Kenneth Mars. And, of course, this is like the whole idea that, he was, he was a Nazi. He's hiding out in America.
And that's comical, yes.
That is comedy. So keep in mind, Mel Brooks is Jewish, and Leo Bloom by Gene Wilder and Max Bialystock, they are Jewish. And you get kind of the payoff later when they're kind of like they're going to wear their Nazi armbands and they throw them in the garbage and spit on them, saying like this because in their minds and then from their perspective it's like this is complete garbage. This play is going to be horrible. We're setting out to make the worst thing imaginable. They're foolproofing it because back in like the old days, RJ 1968, sorry 67 when this came out. The idea of doing this is just like reprehensible because it's like not 25 years removed.
And now people are doing it voluntarily.
Now there's internet YouTube channels that get taken down and their rights are violated. Because they're like, there's some really interesting points, but everyone else is the Nazis, but not me, the anti-Semite.
Isn't that just what it's the same with our YouTube commenters? You are the ones that are wrong, they say. They say to us.
So they convince him. And it's awkward. This man is obviously out of his mind. And
he's not all there.
He's not all there. But it's like the old classic story that's as old as time of the escaped Nazi criminal. Those jokes were in Simpsons.
Well, you ever seen Boys from Brazil?
I have seen that film. Perhaps one of the greatest films.
Perhaps. So it's it can be done right in some ways, and it can be done wrong in other ways. So it's a fine line, I think, is what we're saying here.
So
potentially,
yeah. Next step is they need to find a director who will put on this play, and they find this man who's famous for like making plays that just get shit canned immediately. I believe they close on the first day of rehearsal.
Is his reputation?
Yep.
Or is that film? Yeah.
Roger Debris, played by Christopher Hewlett.
He is eccentric.
He is, yes. One? So So now we had a little bit of that like 1967. Oh, these people are gay and they're flamboyantly gay. Isn't that crazy? That's a man wearing a dress.
Well, I think it's a lot more like what you would expect in a 67 film as opposed to, say, a 2005 film.
Yes, it would be very different.
I think, it'd be very different, especially if there was a musical number added to the gayness and a song about, ain't it weird being gay? End quote. To just give you a little tease what we're getting to eventually. Yeah. So
there's because there's the house man that brings them in, and there's a scene.
I like that guy. He's fun.
They have to do. He was very cat-like with that some interesting facial hair, skin tight like black leather outfit.
Yeah.
Very sure. Yes, and then this is a couple, I guess.
I think so. I don't know.
I'm not sure if it's like.
I think they say assistant, whatever, but like they're very close to each other.
And of course, Roger. It's like he's getting ready for a drag show, essentially, in like that night, and they're talking about that, and they have to convince him, and because there's the one line that's pretty good. I think it's like Roger asks Leo, it's like, didn't I meet you on a summer cruise? And Leo Bloom's like, I don't go on cruises, because it's like, he doesn't go on boats. But I don't know if that's the cruise that he's talking about, RJ.
Are you talking about cruising?
I'm talking about hips of lips.
I have never heard something so shocking in my entire life, Jarrett. Ever.
I feel like
I talk to you weekly.
Yeah.
So that is
shocking. You're scandalized. So they convince Roger to take on the show. He's like, "Well, I love this subject material." I mean, he seems like a naive man who doesn't. I didn't realize that the Third Reich was in reference to Germany.
I mean,
Yeah, I've heard I've heard so much about it.
Oh, that Third Reich?
Yeah,
I didn't know.
Yeah,
Wild.
Yeah,
yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, a person kind of living up their own ass, kind of thing in oblivion.
Where were they living, Jarrett?
So they got him on board, and they do some. They're going to do some casting.
And who are they casting for?
They put out a call for who will play Hitler in the musical. Yeah, and so this is again probably one of the best visuals of the whole film. One of a few that involve
the gang of Hitlers.
The gang of Hitlers. I don't know. There is something pretty just funny about a room full of people who are sporting Hitler mustaches, Hitler haircuts, and they're auditioning to play Hitler. That's what it would be like. It would go down just like that.
How would you approach that audition?
Big laughs. I don't think I'd be there. That would take a. It'd be absurd. I mean, Himmler.
You'd be at the Himmler audition. You'd say, "This is a little bit more fitting for my body type,
my speed." Yes, right. I'm tall.
You're tall, man.
No chin, no sunken chin.
Yeah, we're not talking about matching ideals. We're just talking about straight appearance.
Straight appearance. Yeah. I think you're a Gehring kind of guy over there.
I don't know who that is, but I'll take it as a compliment.
Yeah. Well, he was played by Brian Cox, if that kind of helps fill in some gaps for you.
Brian Cox. Canadian icon Brian Cox?
Is everyone a Canadian icon, RJ? Like Rutger Hauer.
Well, Rutger Hauer is Canadian. That's confirmed.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure
Brian Cox. Was that confirmed by his biographer?
Confirmed by me.
I see.
And what else do you need? I mean, I know Brian Cox did play so Brian Cox, Scottish actor, born in Dundee, Scotland, which is transplanted from Canada. So yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. So Canadian icon Brian Cox.
Okay. So we go to casting. We got a bunch of singing Hitlers, performing Hitlers. Very very nice. I like that. It's good. And of course it's all going, tits up, shit show. There's no good actors coming along. And then this man named Lorenzo Saint Dubois appears. That's LSD to you. He's kind of there's something about this guy plays him, Dick Shawn. He has a real Robin Williams-ness to him.
He does. There was the two kind of actor prototypes I saw a lot in this movie were Robin Williams and then also Steve Martin. I got a lot from this guy. I think it's the way he moves his body. I was like, this guy reminds me of Steve Martin a little bit.
Right.
Maybe that was just me though. But I feel like it's leading to both of those two dudes. So, anyways.
Yeah.
Just something I noticed.
Yeah, when he first walked in, I was kind of like, "Whoa, that guy looks like Robin Williams."
Mm-hmm. And he's acting like Steve Martin.
Yeah, what a mashup. So LSD arrives. He's looking for a different show altogether, Bojangles, I believe. And they're like, of course, if you're looking for the wrong man to play Hitler, you hire the flower power hippie guy.
Yes.
With his crazy high boots. Mm-hmm. And he's got his own
Does it make sense?
And he's got his own band of these 3 chicks that just show up, and he sings his song. And what's the name of that song, RJ?
I don't remember.
Oh my god, I'm blanking out on it too right now.
Oh, see, you threw it to me because you're like, you tell me what it was.
Well, I thought sometimes you remember these things.
I do sometimes. I don't remember what this one was though, unfortunately. Let's say, the pants. The pants.
The pants.
The pants. I genuinely don't know, but it's an interesting song. I like that guy's earring too. By the way, we didn't talk about that too much, but
yeah, absolutely.
His one earring was pretty good. Yeah, pretty good.
Love Power. That's it.
Is that what it is?
Love Power? I was like, I know it's not Flower Power. It's something like that though. Love Power.
Love Power.
Talking
Good
about
stuff.
about giving a flower to the garbage man? Have you ever done that?
I haven't, but
I know you've had like altercations with people over
Yes.
garbage cans, but I don't know if you ever had a conflict with the garbage man.
No, I've never had an issue with the garbage man themselves. Like I would gladly give them a flower because I think they're doing hard work and they don't get enough credit as they should. But I mean, the garbage is a touchy issue for me, man.
The garbage man can.
The garbage man can.
So they go with LSD. He's gonna be their Hitler. I guess at this point, is it when, or there's like a whole montage where Max is just like basically off camera between the panels banging old ladies for like 5 minutes. And he's making all these arrangements. He's constantly having to do stuff. He's yelling in old ladies' hearing aids. He's getting a lot of side eye from people who are like, "What the hell's up with this man?"
He's just doing what he thinks is right.
They sell off an alleged 25,000% of their shares to the play to the investors.
It's a lot.
So that's a few. And how if we forget this? While this is all going down, Max hires a Swedish secretary.
Oh, Ulla.
Ulla. What does Ulla? What does Ulla do? Played by Lee Meredith.
She does a motion with her body to a song, and it's really just one motion.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty much all, and
she likes to dance. That's work.
It's a little bit suggestive.
And she likes to bang because she's Swedish.
Yeah, she mentions something of the sort.
Mm-hmm.
And then everyone goes, "Oh man, could you imagine?"
Yeah, everyone turns into Tex Avery wolves with their tongues hanging out, eyes bulging out. They're like,
They say, "Where can I get me one of those?" Oh.
That's a nice erection sound effect, RJ.
That one?
That's the one.
Yeah, I know what I'm doing.
Think about that for the rest of your lives, people.
I mean, yeah, you could. Well, yes.
So,
that's what I did.
Interestingly, with the movie, it completely skips over the rehearsals that you could have had, the setups, the builds, like the glimmers of the production. It just goes, fuck that.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get the finished product. We're skipping right to opening night. There's not even like the thing in Broadway where you have to do like these like pre-show things and like you do that forever and ever. And this is all about, we're going to do an opening show raw, rough and raw, just the way Bellagio likes it. And it's going to be a big bomb, right? It's going to flop because people are going to show up and they're like, ooh, springtime for Hitler. Where do I buy my ticket? And all
sounds interesting.
People load up. Max even like pays off or attempts to bribe a critic from one of the papers. Mm-hmm. And of course, the idea is that it's going to insult him. Now he's going to be really mad. Now,
does it work?
Well, what happens, RJ, is the production goes off, and we get the Springtime for Hitler musical opening bit, which is audacious. It's all about like, hey, you want to see some of those some Nazis dancing around celebrating Teutonicism and talking about the Deutschland and talking about how one great man came and saved us all and how wonderful he was. And we get some reaction shots from the crowd who are like, what the fuck is this? My word, this is offensive. And of course,
offensive
Max,
to who?
To taste, just all taste.
Oh, okay.
So Max and Leo are like, "Ha, we did it! It's gonna be a bomb!" And they go off to the local bar to have some drinks in celebration. Of course, as soon as they leave, it proceeds to the next act where we are introduced to LSD Hitler, and he is a flower power Nazi. And of course, this completely undermines the whole like grandioseness and the presentation of what this was you thought it was going to be, because they miscalculated in attempting to make the worst production ever. they were like, wait a minute, maybe we should have just got a guy who's really bad at things, and should have played a straight Hitler instead. This guy, it seems like it's an intentional choice to cast this guy, and people are like, this is hilarious. We thought it was going to be a love letter to Hitler, but in fact it's just like making him look like the biggest fucking moron who's ever been. Brilliant. So if only Charles Chaplin hadn't done the exact same thing 30 years ago, but who cares?
Satire. Skewering.
Satire.
Satire. Like satyrs, like the goat men, or
my favorite playwright too. My favorite
Satire?
existentialist, Satyr.
Ugh.
He's
Gross.
He's an old Pan himself.
Gross.
Anyway, so it backfires. They fucked up. The playwright is pissed. Liebkin seeing this, because first he's like, I love it. I love the celebration of Nazis in America. His ideas will extend on, and people will know how great of a man he really was. But then this LSD guy, he's everyone's laughing at the Führer. It is unfortunate. So he tries to even interrupt the show and drop the curtain. He gets knocked out despite wearing a helmet. And he gets dragged off, and everyone thinks this is part of the show. This is amazing. We get like a very like Simpsons-like joke that, I mean, it's clearly Mel Brooks predates The Simpsons, but the thing where like they're at the bar and then everybody starts coming in talking about how it's dynamite. It's such an amazing show, and then I think it's like Gene Wilder's like, well, I mean, they could be talking about some other show that just opened up. Yeah. Oh, I love Springtime for Hitler. It's going to run for a dozen years. And they're like,
that is a Simpsons joke. They also do the three monkeys thing at the bar. Yeah. The see no evil, you know. It's all there.
And we get the line.
Thought of everything.
We get Max saying, I was so careful. I picked the wrong play, the wrong director, the wrong cast. Where did I go right?
Oh, stinging. That is stinging satire, Jared.
Or an erection sound.
What?
So, of course, at this point, Leo is resigned that we're going to jail. We're going to jail now. It's all gone horribly wrong. I'm like, why don't you just fire the lead actor? Like, just cut him and then right the ship. Just like go back to the plan. Like, you just get rid of that dude unless there's some like ironclad contract.
Doubtful.
And like you could sabotage it, but instead they're like, oh no, this has gone horribly wrong. Oh, what are we going to do? We're going to go to jail. Let's go back to the office. And all the insanity starts stacking up. We have dancing Swedish sex pot lady who just keeps dancing. The crazy Nazi shows up to kill them. They're shooting. There's loud music playing. And of course the Nazi's also like, hey, can you come out and let me shoot you, please? It's very funny. RJ
says, listen, I'm trying to killing you, and the easier you can make it for me that would be the easier for everyone. That kind of stuff.
Yeah. So they have to figure out a way out of this, and we have an idea. It's like, well, I can go kill some actors. And then Mac's like, yes, here's some money, go buy some bullets.
Yeah. But Leo's not a fan of that.
No, it's horrible. Don't do that. So they have a better idea. They're going to just blow up the theater. That'll do it. And of
that'll
course,
teach them.
That doesn't work either. They don't get out because it was the fast fuse, not the slow fuse. Wah, wah. So they go to trial. A jury rules them incredibly guilty.
I did actually kind of like that.
Yes, yeah,
incredibly guilty.
Yeah, that is. Again, that would remind me of like the works of Adam Sandler.
Oh,
I believe some Mel
Brooks, Billy Madison.
Yeah, Mel Brooks would inform some Sandler at times. This is some classic textbook comedy stuff, I believe. Maybe the producers is where some of these beats come from. I don't know. I'm not a comedian historian. So, anyway, Leo makes an impassioned speech talking about like how horrible of a man that Max is. That he led him astray, but you know what? He's okay with that. He's happy. He's never been happier. And all these ladies that like he hosed and took their money, they're all like sad that he's going to jail. He made everyone's life a little bit better. Where would we be without Max Bialystok? Where would we be? And of course, nonetheless, they go to jail.
Mm-hmm.
And what do they do in jail? They put on they're going to start all over again, even though they said they'll never do anything like this ever again. Well, what do? They go to jail. They go right back to work, and they start a new play. And what's it called? Prisoners of Love.
Hilarious.
And so, yeah, we have Max. He's conducting the scene with his dancing inmates, and they're selling stocks disproportionate to the number that are available and investing in this play. And even the warden's going to buy into it because, wow, comedy. And, that's it. The Prisoners of Love plays us off, and that's the end. No one learned anything because that's comedy. There should be no lessons learned.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that part, at least.
So
you're a big fan.
It's okay. It's okay. Yeah. There's a quote I'd like to mention here from Mel Brooks from like 2001. I was never crazy about Hitler. If you stand on a soapbox and trade rhetoric with a dictator, you never win. That's what they do so well. They seduce people. But if you ridicule them, bring them down with laughter, they can't win. You show how crazy they are.
Sure.
Do you think that's true? Does that actually really, at the end of the day, work? Can you think of anyone can you think of any like populist politicians that no matter how much you made fun of them or mocked them, it really dragged them down, didn't it?
Like on the internet, maybe mocked them?
I'm just thinking of Alec Baldwin. You see, it's like, did that do a thing? Did that mean anything? It's like, it's more innocent times, and wishful thinking sometimes. That these are the fatal blows.
Well, I think that's like the optimist going like, satire will kill this one, and you go,
it will skewer the beast.
It's skewering satire, and you go, great idea.
Yeah,
I'm with you 100%. But
so this here show, RJ, I guess it's about the idea of the callousness of the business of show business. That it's like, hey, what if someone's not just making bad things unintentionally? They're making them intentionally.
Yeah, and then, well, what does that remind you of?
I don't know. This podcast?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the answer I was looking for.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Well, in a way.
Also, RJ, in a 2001 episode of 60 Minutes, Brooks stated that while serving in the Army, he would be called Jew Boy, and lightheartedly admitted that he made the producers to get even with anti-Semites, particularly Hitler.
I mean, that's one way to get even with him. I think his dying was a better way. But,
I think you can bring down totalitarian governments faster by using ridicule than you can with invective.
I mean, I don't know. I could make fun of you a lot.
Make them laugh.
I think it's, as you said, wishful thinking from an old man. Says, I'll show him this time.
Remember those videos, I think, like, was it Max Brooks made about, like, protecting Mel Brooks behind glass so he wouldn't die from COVID?
Oh.
Wait,
Max... Is Max Brooks Mel Brooks' son?
Yeah.
I mean, that probably sounds silly, but, like, I never actually pieced that together.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't just assume people. Well, actually, I do assume people with the same last name are related. I usually go that route.
And Mel Brooks is married to Anne Bancroft, and that's his mom.
Huh. And then he just went on to write a Bigfoot
zombie survival books.
Yeah. I mean, I listened to the audiobook of that. I thought it was okay, but okay. Anyways, I didn't realize. So. Cool.
You know about that 2,000-year-old man?
I've heard. Why don't you be Carl Reiner and I'll be this one?
Hey, you know what I love though? Probably my favorite thing growing up. That I don't know if it's informed me as an adult whatsoever, but Get Smart was like I was watching those in syndication on YTV as a kid, and I thought Maxwell Smart was awesome.
That's some old man stuff.
No, did you even know Get Smart? I don't know.
I know what it is. I have never seen it because that's
man. Don Adams.
I feel like people who are like 68 are like, I loved that show as a kid. Oh,
well, like seriously, like my dad did watch it, and
yeah,
and then but no, it was like kind of like this cycle thing because my dad watched Get Smart and Batman, like the '60s show, and then on syndication on YTV up here in Creepsville, both those played back to back. And I was super into both those shows as a kid because I was a little grandpa kid, I guess.
You were a little grandpa kid, and even worse, you're a little grandpa man.
Little grandpa kid watching Get Smart, Batman, Twilight Zone, you know,
just
Star Trek,
just
Toss,
bad stuff.
Yeah, that explains a lot about me. But
yeah, you're a bad dude, but oh well.
That's what his producers, 1967 or 1968. I keep seeing two things at once. I don't understand.
It's both.
So yeah, I mean, I think this is okay. I'm not gonna.
Sure.
I can't lie. It's
okay, that's fine.
But it's good. It's fine. What did you think of the producers?
So I haven't seen this film before. I know about the producers. Mostly what I know about it is the Curb Your Enthusiasm episode.
Yeah, I should have mentioned that. It's actually the season. It's the entire season 4, Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah, and then
where
season 4.
Larry David is going to play Max Bialystock, and then it's an exploration of all the things. Because at this point in time, the producers' Broadway show was going
strong,
very well. It was very popular.
Yes, sure. Cats was really popular for a while too. Remember Cats?
Well, what are we talking about? The original run of it on Broadway? Or are we talking about Cats, the movie that came out?
Let's just say both.
Was it popular? The movie? Was it?
I mean, for different reasons, yeah.
Yeah, for different reasons.
For different reasons, but no, yeah. Okay, so I knew what Producers was. I hadn't seen the original one. I've seen parts of the remake before, so I was like, I know what that movie's about. I got it. I know what Mel Brooks is about. In my mind, as I kind of pointed out earlier, there's some real old man shit in just like growing up as a little kid, when I was showing Monty Python stuff and Mel Brooks stuff, I was the little kid who was like, I don't want to watch this shit. I was like, I want to watch The Simpsons, and then they'd make jokes about Mel Brooks, and I'd be like, yeah. I'd be like, that's the kind of stuff that's more my speed. Which is just, I mean, that's how little kids think. But I was never the old man little kid who actually got a lot out of those things. So, anyways, I do like Mel Brooks. I like.
Well, what do you
young Frankenstein guy?
What do you think about Steve Allen? Another one of these individuals that's like, do people only know who Steve Allen is because of The Simpsons?
I do only know Steve Allen because of The Simpsons. That's 100% true.
Yeah.
100% true. But I don't know what I was going to say. Spaceballs I liked as a little kid, but I would not like that anymore. I know I wouldn't.
No.
Blazing Saddles, I watched and I was like
it's got a couple of pretty great lines in it.
Yeah,
where you're just like, geez, it's pretty good stuff sometimes, once in a while. But
yeah, see, I haven't seen that movie in probably 20 years, so I should probably watch.
It's a short list. So let's take a look here. So we got the producers is number 1. A movie called The 12 Chairs that I have no fucking idea what it is. I've never seen it. I've never heard of it. Yeah, I don't. I'm sure someone will tell us all about it. Blazing Saddles, yes. Young Frankenstein, yes. Silent Movie. I don't think anybody likes Silent Movie because no one talks about it. High Anxiety is like his Hitchcock spoof, and I imagine that's kind of where. I mean, that's what he started making. So Producers is like a real movie. And then, as far as it's a comedy, but it's a satire. And then he starts making these parody films. Because there's Silent Movie, High Anxiety. Yes. Young Frankenstein is a parody of, obviously 1930s Universal films. History of the World, Part 1. Spaceballs.
Where's part
It's
2?
Star Wars. That's the joke, RJ. That's the joke. Part 1.
See.
You're going to look for a long time for part 2. Life Stinks. That's like, I think, a real movie. And then, yeah, Robin Hood, Men in Tights, and Dead and Loving It. His final film. Can you believe it? What a run.
Is Lloyd Kaufman on the cover of Life Stinks?
That would be...
Because that's who it looks like.
That would be Mel Brooks.
I mean, I know it's Mel Brooks, but that looks a lot like Lloyd Kaufman to me.
Filthy rich businessman bets a corporate rival that he can live on the streets of L.A. without the comforts of home or money, which proves to be tougher than he thought.
Sounds good.
Oh, Jeffrey Tambor? Shit, yeah.
Ooh.
Michael Ensign. Billy Barty.
I mean, those are names I don't totally recognize. So
you know Billy Barty.
maybe. But what I do know is that as a kid, Dracula Dead and Loving It was my favorite Mel Brooks movie.
Oh, God.
As an adult, probably Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Yeah, I saw that in theater,
jokes.
RJ. I saw that, yeah.
I don't doubt it. There's some killer jokes in there. Killer. One thing that Andrew always says to me is there's a joke in there where he's like, I keep a likeness of him in my boudoir, and it's just a cutout of the man. Mm-hmm. It's a good joke.
It is a good joke.
Good joke. Good joke.
Now you even say it, I remember that. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, see? Robin Hood Men in Tights. I'm going to say it right now. Better than Young Frankenstein. And I don't care what YouTube people have to say about that, but that's the truth. Anyways.
Young Frankenstein is a gorgeous looking movie, though.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I would probably have way more appreciation of it now that I have watched a lot of old horror. Where when I had originally watched that, I knew what Frankenstein was, but again, I was too little watching all these movies. I didn't know what any of them meant. Like, well, I mean, that's just my life.
Young Frankenstein does have the line of "What hump," which is pretty awesome. But and the musical at the end is pretty nice. I don't know. I have a soft spot for that bit, but I think, I mean, of these, like, Producers is kind of not. It's not in the top third. It's not in the top 2 anyway for me. But. Okay,
well, here's my thing about the Producers. So like that's what I knew about Mel Brooks, and I knew what the Producers was. But I hadn't actually seen it. I threw it on. I really like Zero Mostel. Like this guy he fits in our camp of the Creeps nation, I suppose, of fat, sweaty, balding men. You're like, ooh, yeah.
That's our base.
Behind this. That's our base, yeah. And I do really like Gene Wilder. And I'm going to say something that is probably going to garner a lot of hate. I don't know if he actually fits well for this role. And the reason, it's just that opening, about 20 minutes, I don't know what it was. I was just like, I don't know if he's like the best thing for this. I think he fits later on in the movie, but like all that anxiety screaming stuff, like it's like I said, I don't like that in general, but I was like, I don't want to see Gene Wilder just screaming for like 10 minutes here. So it really threw me off, and I was like, I don't know. I said, maybe I'm off on this. And I know that people will get mad at me for that, but I got to tell it like it is. I think there are some very good jokes in this. I actually thought the cardboard belt. Was funny.
I forgot about the cardboard belt. Of course.
Yeah, I thought that was really funny. But then there's other things that, like, I can see the humor in it, but I didn't laugh, and that's probably one of the most pretentious things I've ever said. But like, when Zero's like talking, and then Gene Wilder starts to like talk, and he's like, "No, I'm just speaking in hypotheticals here." Or it's like something like that. I was kind of like, I see why people would think that's funny, but I'm choosing not to laugh at that. Uh-huh. So there was a lot of jokes like that in here where it's like, I understand, but no, I'm not going to. So there was a few things like that. I do think I'm going to have a real Jarrett moment here where I think, where the idea of Coke is better than Coke. I think the idea of this movie is really good. And I think at the time I can see why it was popular and eventually gained a lot of traction and became like an influential thing. I get that. I get all of that. Watching it now as a first time, I was like, doesn't really have the punch I'm sure that it did before, but I can see why it was very popular. So all the the Hitler musical idea, making a show to fail. It's like, I get it. It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So I like what this movie is doing, but at the same time, it's like, in my mind, I'm like, well, it's not my be all and end all of movies for me, which I do know it is for some people.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
it's so difficult. I mean, I think it is really difficult to like imagine how audacious this idea is of like springtime for Hitler, because pretty well like South Park, I think so much of South Park is like in the musical stuff is part of the producers, like its legacy. I'm sure there's probably like other smaller films that also did big offensive musical numbers, but the producers is the one that everybody talks about. But I'm pretty sure that this like would have paved the way for like the South Park. So like, I mean, like we just like literally talked about it earlier, South Park the musical, or South Park the movie, which like I think is amazing. To me, that's like one of the funniest things I've seen. It's been a while. Sure. Maybe I'll think differently of it, or I'll be like, yeah. This is fantastic. Even though it also has like,
I would say just
they're gay jokes.
Yeah. There's a little bit of that.
Yeah.
One thing I will say is like, so I think you and me are on like similar boats for musicals. I'm not a huge musical fan.
Yeah.
I don't dislike musicals. There are musicals I've watched that I actually like quite a bit.
You're a big like, Dr. Horrible fan, right?
Nope. I am not.
Oh,
I'm a big Sister Act fan, my friend.
That's not that's not.
Yeah, I know that's cheating.
That's cheating.
But there are a few musicals I liked. When I was 12 years old and I saw Chicago in theaters, I thought it was amazing. And I know you're a big Chicago guy.
Wow. All you know what I'm going to say is, Chicago, not as bad as another movie we're going to be talking about here.
Yes. And that's why I'm kind of building this up now. I actually appreciated that this movie, it wasn't a full-on musical. It just had musical elements to it, and it was about a musical. I was like, I like that. The few times that there were songs in this thing, I thought it was deserved. And it's like, yeah, you guys earned this. And so I just want to say, like, I don't actually dislike musicals, but there are some musicals I dislike quite a bit. So, but yeah, my thing on producers, I think we're in the same boat. Some of the stuff works. Some of the stuff I thought was really funny. There was a bunch of it that I was like, meh. But I don't know. I can see why it appeals to people. Again, I know that's super lame of me to say, but I get it. It just doesn't have that for me.
Right.
So, anyways.
What
you
else?
Have any lingering thoughts?
Not at the moment. But I do know that I feel like my appreciation of the producers only increased though upon watching 100%. The 2005 producers film, which is a adaptation of the Broadway musical that was like a huge success, which is based on the movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Before you even get into it, my appreciation for the producers was increased by about 1,000% after watching this.
Because you realize like all these things that you take for granted watching Grandpa Cinema, and you realize, timing. like
timing.
Comedic timing. You're just like, like it's just invisible when you're watching it done well. And then you watch this, and it is inert. And so this producer's from 2005. It's directed by Susan Strohan, who...
Was she the Broadway director?
Strowman, like Braun Strowman.
Like Braun Strowman? Yeah.
I don't know if she was involved, because she's only directed like... She must be. She worked on like some Met Opera thing and some other dancey looking image that pops up. Like this is it though. Like so she...
Yeah, so maybe she was involved in the Broadway thing or something.
Let's get an answer. She is an American theater director, so she probably is the mastermind. And so you know what? If you want to be, how would you say this? If you want to be generous with this, so if she's not a filmmaker and she's making a film, she's like making that leap from theater, and she's no Julie Taymor. I don't think.
No.
Or vice versa. Yeah.
I mean, she does a decent enough job jumping across from theater to movie, though.
Yeah.
In terms of like
or movie to theater, or theater to movie.
Yeah. I don't think the filming is the problem; it's the content.
It's both. I think there is definitely a problem though.
A little bit of both.
I think there's definitely some stuff where like when you're doing this like every night or however many times this fucking musical would have happened, you just are like, oh, that's great, and we're working with like professional actors who are in movies, who have gone to the stage, and this is like done a massive business for like Matthew Broderick, who like in 2005, what the fuck is Matthew Broderick doing? He's living off that Ferris Bueller money, and now he's in this fucking producer's show, which is like a big success. I remember seeing ads for this. I remember seeing ads. I remember hearing about how big this show was, like on TV. Like there was ads for this. I feel like even in Creepsville here, hearing about what's happening in New York City on Broadway, they promoted the fuck out of this crap. They toured it. They toured this show. Grossed millions, hundreds of millions of dollars. And what do we got here? We got a movie. We got a picture movie with Uma Thurman, Will Ferrell, starring Nathan Lane, and one Matthew Broderick. One of our Creeps canon in terms of our
patron saints,
rogues gallery.
Yeah, and like so. Before we even get into it, I know people will be like, "Oh, well, you don't like this because Matthew Broderick is in it." No. That's not why I don't like this. I know. It's part of why I don't like this.
Because he's
for sure.
Because he's not. He's bad. He's bad.
He sucks. He's so bad. I couldn't believe it.
The entire like it's so long. Okay, so anyway, so this opens up with a 2 musical.
2 hours and 14 minutes.
Is it that long?
Yeah. It's 2 hours and 14 minutes. The version I watched was.
Wow. I didn't even look at the time, and I'm glad. It did seem long, but I kind of had this on while I was tending to some miniature painting. And so,
of course.
Because I was hearing it, though, and I was watching it at the beginning, and then I was just, I'm done. I am done with you, assholes.
I tapped at 30 minutes.
You didn't even finish it.
No, I finished it.
Oh, but your attention tapped. I see.
Fair. That's what I
yeah, I mean, so what are some of the differences, broad strokes? Because I don't want to linger on this movie. It fucking sucks. I hate this. This is shit beyond.
Hit it for you.
It's everything I hate. It's everything I hate about contemporary movies. There's just scenes where there's like, where's the music? Where's the pacing? Why are the characters just talking and standing around? It's not a stage play. This is it's movies. It's supposed to be kinetic. Have some movement. There's nothing. There's just like they're talking and riffing. It's good enough. They're so charismatic. It's like no, I hate these dudes. Like Nathan Lane is a fucking ham, and Matthew Broderick is like he's just. I don't even know what you would call him.
Well, there's definitely a.
Like he's not like I mean
there's a designation you can call him.
I hate his like approach to material. It's like I'm just good. It's just good enough, right? That's his kind of thing. I think he's okay in Election. I don't remember like disliking him this much. Like I find Ferris Bueller okay, but this is just awful. Like you're like these guys don't even seem like they seem comfortable doing what they're supposed to be doing, and you can feel like they're really mining the original material and doing what Gene did. That's what it felt like at times. I think Nathan Lane is a much better Zero Mostel than Broderick is a Gene Wilder, but neither of them are successful at all. But and they make these like 2005-esque decisions about, hey, we have to give more background. Let's like tighten it up. Flower power ain't going to fly anymore, even though this is still like a period piece.
Yeah, it is. But then they
decide to go down.
The things they change are very strange.
Yeah, they have to have explanations for everything. And so they tighten it up. We're like, well, instead of like we're actually going to have Will Ferrell, the Nazi, show up and play the main character, which actually is like that's a pretty good idea. in some ways. Like it makes sense. This guy would be so impassioned, and you just get Will Ferrell being a big old goof. That's his job, is being a goof. And then he breaks his leg, and then he gets replaced by the director. So now we get, instead of flower power or extremely committed to the role, German guy playing Hitler with utter sincerity, we have the gay director and choreographer play gay Hitler and just camp it up hard, and people love it in the way, because people, I mean, part of it is like, does Mel Brooks also think people are dumb when they watch film or,
I don't think so.
Productions like this? Because like I
don't think so.
I think there's like an element to me, for me, like when I've watched live theater, I'm so uncomfortable. Sure. I feel bad for the actors. It just feels all sad, and then people are laughing and stuff like that and finding things that I'm like, that's not funny. What's wrong with people? And I'm like, I don't think that's his goal, but I'm kind of like, isn't everything feels like springtime for Hitler to me when I'm watching it. Like if I was sitting in a theater watching a musical, I would be just like clutching the arms of my chair and then looking at the exit sign, because I'd be like, I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't watch talentless people perform. I can't do it.
I saw a musical version of Carrie at the Creepsville University once.
Yeah, and
it was fine. Well, I didn't. It was better than the 2005 The Producers.
Oof.
So no, I do know what you mean.
Yeah.
But here's my short take on this thing.
Yep.
So I did have Big Sugarhead message me, and he's like, I like your review for The Producers. He's like, but is that movie actually that bad? And I said, yeah. I was like, it is a fucking pile of shit, this thing. And I was like, this is what I think about this. It's like, I understand that they were the Broadway musical actors, and they were what worked there. They were trying to like emulate here. It doesn't work because the same thing that you said is what I said to Sugarhead. I was like, the timing doesn't work at all. Like nothing lines up. Nothing hits the way it's supposed to. They're very clearly acting it the same way they would in Broadway. And it's just like, these things don't match up, you know? And then the same thing with you, where it's that you said where Matthew Broderick is trying to be Gene Wilder. And it's just like, you're not. You can't hit that same thing that he's doing, even though I didn't like particularly like Gene Wilder.
Yeah, well, because like if you want to do
Producers,
if you want to do a compare and contrast,
but if you do a side by side, holy fuck.
Yeah, and you're like, oh yeah, you really appreciate low key Gene Wilder, and him being, I'm hysterical. You compare that to Matthew Broderick, or when Matthew Broderick's like blanket freak out. It's so bad. It's just like, what the fuck? Like, and they have to. He has to do more explaining, and they have to lay it out for audiences. You're like, I see.
And
why is
that's
that?
Another issue.
And they have to give
like all the motivations have to be like laid out for everyone.
And then they decide, you know what? We need Uli to have more agency.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's because it's 2005. We can't just have her be like eye candy and like she's just there to be oogled and pawed at. It's like, no, she's like also there and like she likes to have sex. And she's not just like a bimbo, and it's like, I get that, but it's like Mel Brooks is pretty consistent in like having his bimbos in like Blazing Saddles, etc. Like they're there for the joke, but it's like that joke doesn't play maybe in 2005, so they had to update it. But you're just like, I see. But you also have Uma Thurman, and it's like she has abilities, she's got talent, but she's also going to be interested in Matthew Broderick. Instead of just like Max, which I guess is like, well, yeah, Nathan Lane as a gay man, I don't know. I guess he could he could fake it, play it through. And so they were like, nah, we won't do that. Let's have Matthew Broderick, the ladies' man that he is.
Well, so they do that, but at the same time, they also have a 10-minute sequence of literally, it's like, isn't it gay to be weird? Or isn't it weird to be gay? And it's like just it's a big musical thing. It's just like, hey guys,
But
being gay is crazy.
and then instead of like and then they're like, oh hey, remember the gay stereotypes you could accuse the film of having in 1967? We're going to do a musical number about gay stereotypes because we're going to own it. We're going to say, see, we're aware of those cliches and we're going to lean into them. And so you can be like, and you're like, okay. I mean, it's all these like I understand the problem solving, I guess, of updating the ideas for it for a contemporary audience. I think they're actually like fairly smart, but man, watching this as a movie, like watching a movie of this, it sucks. Mm-hmm. It's they clearly like, I think the play seems like it's like, oh yeah, I understand why they do that. They tie up this weird loose end. They have these ideas like, well, if she has this agency, then she would suggest that her and Leo Bloom leave, and they leave Bialystok, kind of like, and he's like, I got screwed, and then you can have like the arc of like, oh, he comes back, it's a crowd thing. It's like, instead of just like, oh, we try to blow up the place, it didn't work. But
yeah, so it's a lot of that, right? Where
the police show up because of the guns being fired, and then they get arrested. Instead, it's like, oh, we were going to blow it up and it didn't work out. The Mel Brooks version is just zanier, right? Because he's like, I don't care if it makes sense. And this one's like, we're going to make it so it's like really soundproofed, and so there's no questions lingering. And I'm like, I don't know. It's so, of course they do. Of course they figure out all these things because make it more palatable. And then you make $215 million in touring sales, and I get it because it's a business. And you're like, oh, it doesn't feel like a satire anymore. It feels so calculated.
Yeah, and I mean that's pretty much what I was thinking about it too. And like, I don't know, we've given this even more attention than it deserves because it sucks. It does. Everything about this thing sucks. And Matthew Broderick is horrible in this, like genuinely horrible. I don't know how else to put it. And I'm with you too. Like, I think Ferris Bueller's fine. I thought he was fine in Election. Like, he's fine. He may have done some questionable stuff, but he absolutely sucks in this. Like, I was amazed. I was like, holy shit. I can't believe that this guy is an actor who's getting paid more money than I'll ever see in my life. And this is what he's doing. But shocking.
He's worth every penny.
Yeah, just absolute shit is what I think. Anyways, this it sucks. It's horrible. Not a fan. Mm-mm. Not a fan. Mm-mm. Well, we got that out of the way. Hooray! Happy 250th episode. So, who hates Mel Brooks, the producers, though? I don't know.
Okay, people? Well, some people, people. Maybe some AI, maybe some troll farm employees. Sure. Yeah. So we got Rapiankins.
Jenkins.
Dudora.
I think it's Dudo Rap Jenkins.
Sure. That's something. Half a star. Holy Christ, is that opening credits scene a mess?
I mean, not really. But person doesn't have a ton of reviews, but they do have 4 favorite films, including Eyes Wide Shut, Zodiac, The Sting from 1973, and then Clerks.
Which The Sting do you think I might have mistaken it for?
The Sting, the wrestler.
Oh, but or like the horror movie The Sting about like killer bees that doesn't exist?
I mean, it could have been. I just assumed there's another movie called The Sting.
Oh, I think there's only the Sting.
I don't know. I feel like that's questionable.
Sting. Okay, anyways.
Sting. Let's see how many pop up here, Jarrett. Oh, there's more than one.
Oh.
There's a 1992 movie called The Sting, directed by Man Wong.
Okay, see, I thought it was that one.
Yeah, see, and there's The Sting 2.
Yeah,
from 1983 from Jeremy Kagan.
Yep.
There's The Stingiest Man in Town from Jules Bass. So there's all sorts of stings.
Yeah. Well, how about what does Nowfell think of this film at half a star? I love Wilder, but the lack of sets and lack of laughs keeps this one bottled up.
I mean, I don't really think there's a lack of
sets.
Okay, well, now Phil has a disclaimer in their bio. I tend to give lower scores to give more variance to the movies I really enjoy. Lots of movies are just okay to me, few I hate, and then a handful I adore. And then they have a rating scheme here, which is neither here nor there.
Yeah.
Favorite films are Apocalypse Now, 2001: A Space Odyssey, A Clockwork Orange, Pulp Fiction. So,
wow, well, I'm glad that he allots for the variance in his scoring.
Yeah. Well, they gave Ghostbusters, High Noon, and American Psycho a half a star, but then also Paul Blart Mall Cop a half a star. So apparently those 4 movies are all on the same page.
Yeah, about there.
Yeah.
Huh.
Weird.
How about Garbo?
Garbo? Garbo is coming?
Wow, half a star. My God, how I've tried to enjoy a Mel Brooks film. I knew he's meant to be a comedic legend in film, but I just don't find his jokes funny. They're crass, obvious, and cliche with not an ounce of wit. I just don't find it funny, and as a result, this film was a chore to sit through. Oh well, I gave it a go. At least I can tick it off my list and never watch it again. What insight?
I mean, I guess.
What insight?
Yeah. What else? The only other, weird ratings here. I don't know. Favorite films are Now Voyage, Now Voyager from 1942. I thought it was Now Voyage. 12 Angry Men, Clueless, and The First Wives Club. So, not bad. Not too bad. They watch a lot of shorts. Lots of shorts.
You want to hear of some 5-star reviews for 2005, The Producers?
Holy shit. Whoever's doing that, not good.
Fuck me. It's going to be worth it. Okay. From Zach, 5 stars. A literal laugh riot. Absolutely hysterical. One of the great remakes of all time. One of the great comedies of all time.
Hey, guess what Zach's favorite movies are, too? 2001: Space Odyssey.
Check.
Pulp Fiction.
Check.
American Beauty.
Check.
And then No Country for Old Men.
Oh, American Beauty. Oh, boy.
Yeah, strange.
Yeah, I liked that movie when I was a young man. I don't know about that now. Hey, how about from Jen?
Wait.
No.
Bio from Zach. Film crackhead. I try really hard to avoid bad movies. It hurts me. I wish you only knew. But it happens sometimes. Of course.
Well, Jen, 5 stars. Matthew Broderick, DILF.
Nobody's ever said that.
Well, Jen has. And she rewatched it. So it remains. Is that RJ? Is Matthew Broderick a dad you'd like to fuck?
He's not a man I'd like to do anything for other than have
stay off the
consequences
roads.
To their actions.
Stay off the roads. That's all I gotta say, folks.
Consequence culture.
Gotta get out there. What do we got here?
Yeah.
People saying gay rights, 5 stars. Or how about from Tissue Box, funny and clever, 5 stars.
It's not either of those
I
things.
love this so fucking much. My favorite musical comedy.
Okay, I'm noticing something weird.
Leo,
that last person, that was the only movie they have logged on Letterboxd.
Leo Bloom most for sure gets pegged.
I mean, doesn't seem necessary to say that, but okay. Let's see what
of course,
Mac.
There is the one line that, of course, is in both films, obviously, but the delivery of "Don't be stupid and be a smarty. Come and join the Nazi party." That's pretty funny.
Hey, that person who talked about pegging said, "I like to think I'm a harsh, cutthroat movie reviewer." But then they say some other stuff, but that doesn't. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. So, anyways, I don't want to watch movies again for another. Couple months.
I know. Well, a 1/2-star review for 2005 was, "Man, I trusted Nathan Lane and watched this movie. I should not have."
I mean, I don't mind Nathan Lane, so I'm kind of with this guy. I don't trust him, but I didn't mind him. This guy also has 2001: Space Odyssey in their favorite films as well.
I just his voice just makes me think of shitty animated movies. I don't know. It's
guess.
like shit, like Lion King. Ugh.
Well, I like him as
Hakuna Matata.
Yeah, I don't mind Nathan Lane, but yeah, he's he's trying his best in this thing. Yeah. He's trying. But whatever.
Can't do it. Just can't do it. A lot of people say I made it about 10 minutes in. I couldn't manage it. It was that horrific. Not good.
I agree. Not good.
Didn't finish, but the directing gave me an ulcer also. As a Jew, I've never been offended by a Goyish actor playing Jewish before, but this time, a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I guess it is Matthew Broderick playing Leo Bloom, but whatever. Because he's just playing it so blandly.
I mean, that's just him, man.
Yeah.
That's just who he is. Like, I haven't really seen him do anything other than that. That's just Matthew Broderick.
Big man.
That's what I'm saying, man.
That's
what I've been saying.
All right. Enough of this. We've prattled on about this, producers. Yeah, it's 1967. It's okay. It's not bad. Not a bad movie.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Check it out or not.
It doesn't matter to us.
It's blood on your hands.
Sure, we don't give a freak.
Like some actors. After the break, we're going to jail. But you know what? I think we might even have still access to Criterion Channel. It'll be good. Once the government finds out all the Patreon money is just going to fund my trips to the Caymans, where I'm funneling.
Which Caymans?
What? Bill Cayman.